Hello there. I am King Longbottom, and I am from Hogwarts, and I'm going to be teaching you code. All right, so let's go over this question real quick. So, this is an AP question from the AP Classroom website. Now, the test you're going to take in May is language agnostic. What that means is that they don't use a particular programming language. We are learning Python, right? My AP Computer Science A is learning Java. The AP test is not going to be specific to any one programming language. They're going to use what's called pseudocode. Now, there are differences between all types of programming languages, of course, but the main core is all the same. Okay, it's the way that we can understand a program works across Python, across Java, across C Sharp or Ruby or whatever programming language you are trying to learn. So even though we're using Python, the test is not going to be in Python. It's going to be in pseudocode. So let's go over this question right here. Let's go step by step. Now we can see an example of pseudocode right here. All right. I see the keyword repeat here, so it definitely looks like we're going to have some kind of a loop. Now, because it's saying repeat 3 times, that's probably going to be a for loop. Remember, a for loop tells the program a specific number of times it wants to iterate. Okay, that's different from a while loop. And then finally, we have display result, which normally what we would use was probably be print. Okay. So what I would, if I was trying to figure out what this question was asking me or what this code is supposed to do, I would try to convert each part in my mind to Python. So if we look here, let's look at result with that arrow with 2. Now, what does that arrow mean? So this is the assignment operator in pseudocode. This is essentially meaning that the value or the integer 2 is result. We don't use the equal sign, okay? Because the equal sign in programming and in math means equality. So we don't want to say 2 is equal to result because that means that they're both different values, but they're the same. We want to assign to the result. So that's a key to figure out. So when we look here and we're seeing 2 is the result, how can we write that in Python? So what I did is I went to a CodeHS sandbox and I created a Python 3 program, and this is how we would do our result. So we just have the name of our variable and we're assigning it the integer 2. All right. So now we're coming down to our repeat 3 times loop. We said that we thought that was a for loop. And it says result is result times 5. Okay. So we know that this is a for loop, and we know that it's going to have 2, or the result is going to be 2 times 5. So how do we write that in Python? So in Python, and you guys have been learning, when you write a for loop, the way you would write it is using the syntax for I in range, and then you put the value inside of your parentheses, followed by a colon. Okay, so lines 4 and 5 is equal to repeat 3 times, and result is result times 5. Now, finally, the easy one, display result. We know that this is probably simply to print the result out. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through each iteration of this loop. Now, what is an iteration? Each loop is an iteration. So every time it goes through a loop, a value is going to change. Okay. And once it completes one loop, that is one iteration. So if we go through this, we know that we're going to have 3 loops or 3 iterations. And we start off in our first iteration. Our result is going to be 2 times 5. Now, that's pretty easy math. We know that this is 10. Okay. Because it's repeating 3 times, it goes back into the loop. It does not go to print, and not until it satisfies those 3 loops. So now we have result
result times 5. But the result has changed after the first loop. The result is now 10. So in our second iteration, it's going to be 10 times 5. Again, simple math, 10 times 5 is 50. And we know that we have one more loop that we have to go through. And 50 times 5 is 250. Okay. So that's how we're doing it in our head. That's how we're taking pseudocode and transferring it over to what we know about Python. But is that what the question is asking? Is it asking what the output is? No. The question is asking which of the following best describes the behavior of the code segment. Okay. So A, B, C, D. Let's go through these. When I have a multiple choice question, I like to see what's the same about them and what's different. What stuck out to me is right here the algorithm 2, 5 times 3 is the same on both of these. And then 2, 5 to the third power is the same on C and D. Now, if we look here, it says the code segment displays the value of 2, 5 times 3. So if we times 5 times 3, which is 15, times 2 is 30, we know that 30 is not equal to 250. So just by looking at those two, of course, you want to read through them both, but I'm going to go ahead and eliminate A and B. Now, the next one says the code segment displays the value of 2 times 5 to the third power. You can see that the math that we're doing with through each iteration is going to be exponential. Okay. So we're getting to exponents. We're not just simply multiplying. So it makes sense. But let's see what the next part says because these two, C and D, are the same. They both say the code segment displays the value of 2 to 5 to the third power. But C says initializing result to 0 and then multiplying the result by 3 a total of 5 times. And then the second choice, D, says multiplying the result 5 a total of 3 times. We know that our loops were iterating 3 times. So what you would want to do is you want to read these two. You want to eliminate the last one. I'm going to go ahead and eliminate C because it's saying that we're iterating 5 times and we're not. We're iterating 3 times. So the answer on this one would be